All right. You ready, Tim, to get started and have our conversation?
I'm ready, Jennifer.
All right. Well, first off, I want to say thank you so much for joining us on the webinar today. I see people are still joining in, and so you've got time. I will ask you again at the end of today's webinar um, to put your name and where you're from, that or your church name. That is how you enter the $500 sports startup grant that we will draw live here at the very end of today's webinar. But I wanted to thank you guys for joining me today. My name is Jennifer McCraw. I am the Marketing and Partnerships Manager here at Upward Sports. And one thing that I absolutely love about working at Upward Sports is serving alongside pastors or league directors that are actually leading out ministry in the field. I feel like I have a sideline seat of ministry and get to serve that way. So I absolutely love it. If you made it on here today, or maybe you listened to this after the fact, I've had several people ask me, will this be recorded? And so, yes, it is being recorded. And everything that we refer to today, I'm going to send you in an email tomorrow, actually with a handout, so that you can refer to these 5 mistakes that churches make in outreach and how we can plan for 2026. So you'll receive that as well tomorrow with this recording. But I wanted to introduce you to a dear friend of mine. He is an Upward Sports ambassador. He is the associate pastor and the Upward Sports League director there at Townsend Church in Townsend, Delaware. So meet Tim Sparrow. We're glad you're here.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be a part of this and just talk about what God has in store with us. So thanks so much for joining, and thank you, Jennifer, for putting in the behind the scenes work to making this possible. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. So how this is going to work today, guys, is if you have questions, first off, I have about 68 questions that you submitted when you registered. So we could sit here all day and just put Tim in the hot seat and ask him tons of questions, but we're not. We want to make your time very beneficial. So the way that this is going to go is we're going to talk about 5 mistakes that churches make in outreach. This is really going to be geared heavily toward outreach when it comes to sports outreach, because that's what I feel Upward Sports is the expert in. If you've happened upon this webinar and you don't understand who Upward Sports is, briefly, we are the world's largest Christian youth sports organization. And our desire is to promote the discovery of Jesus through sports. And we get to do that by serving local churches like Tim's church, and allowing him to lead out in sports. We're more behind the scenes. He finds his volunteers, his coaches, and players register, and we provide all of the materials for him to lead a first-class, organized, intentional league. And so we're going to talk about these. I don't really like the word mistakes, but I feel like it grabs your attention. But these are going to be 5 areas when I've had the opportunity of speaking to pastors or to church leaders. These mistakes are a lot of times what keep us from branching out to add a new ministry like Upward Sports, or sometimes we fall into these patterns of we have to have things as they are, or we can't add a program. So today we're going to talk about these. And the way this is going to work, I'm going to talk about it. We're going to get Tim's ideas, his thoughts on each one of these topics. And then as you have questions, guys, put them in the chat box, the Q&A section. And then at the end of today's webinar, we'll put Tim in the hot seat and we'll ask him some questions. So let's talk about these 5 mistakes and how we can avoid them going into 2026, Tim. The first mistake that I was thinking through was like making outreach a one-time push. A lot of times, we pour our energy into a one-time single event like a trunk or treat. I love it. You and I have talked about this. Trunk or treat I love it. It's a great thing. But a lot of times we do that. We pour all of our energy into a one-time event or maybe a holiday program or a community festival. And we expect this to carry impact for the rest of the year. Families come once, it may be a large amount of families, and they really enjoy the event. And we get all these cards of people, and then we have to text, email, but a lot of times they never return until this next holiday event or promotion. Um, Tim, talk to us a little bit about a better way that you've seen or how you guys do versus a one-time push.
Yeah, I think that's great, Jennifer. I thank you for putting that question together because it's an important one, and I think a lot of us think a lot of people online can understand attending a one-time event. And as I think about what the Bible says about how we should be as Christians, relationships are top priority, and creating and establishing those deep connections in those relationships is a top priority. So when you have those one-time events, they're great, and it's exciting to get them on your property, and it's exciting to potentially make those connections. But if we're honest, how good are we at follow-up? And so when you have
True.
something where people are on your property multiple times throughout the course of the week or over the course of a few months, like it creates those chances for us to really deepen those and strengthen those relationships. And when that happens, an invite for them to a church or to a church event becomes easier. And what a great way through sport. And that's what we found through our Upward program. We were doing the one-time events, and we just saw so much more value in doing a sustainable outreach where, like Upward, where you're seeing them multiple times a week and you're connecting with the families and the parents and the kids, so that you can create that trusting relationship and bond, which just opens up so many doors for you.
I love that. So if you're listening on here, Upward Sports does create these, I guess I like to call them these ministry touch points.
Mm.
We create multiple ministry touch points in our churches. You have your small groups on Sunday. You have maybe RAs and GAs or Awana, whatever it may be on Wednesday night. You have all of these different things. But Upward Sports Ministry, it really does allow families to step foot on your gym, your field. For you, which we'll talk here in a minute about, you don't even have this gym, but you have such a great relationship with your community.
Mm.
Parents show up one day of practice a week and one day of game days for 8 to 12 weeks. And that is a huge ministry touch point when you see a family twice a week for this. And so this first mistake or this obstacle is making sure that our outreach is not a one-time push. We can complement them. I think it's really great to complement one-time pushes with a larger, maybe you do Upward Sports for 12 weeks and then you do like a festival or a carnival, or maybe you do a carnival first and then you invite them to this longer ministry touch point opportunity. I think those really go hand in hand. You do that, correct? You do these, they complement.
Yeah, it's such a great point, Jennifer, because during our upward season, we've done a fall fest for a lot of years. And it's been really cool to see how as our upward program grows,
Yeah.
our fall festival outreach grows. So for sure, and it works great with our flag football season, which we just finished this past Saturday, because our fall festival falls within the upward flag football season. So it just works great. We have
Yeah.
thousands of people on our property, and a lot of them are our outreach upward folks that are coming to our Fall Fest because of the connections that we've been able to create and establish throughout our program.
I love it. So let them work together.
Yeah, for
I'm not
sure.
saying one or,
No,
but I would
yeah.
definitely say complement each other. So I'm just curious if you're on here, drop in the chat box and tell us, do you do a one-time event that brings in a lot of people? Maybe you're known as that. I know in our community here, there's a church and they're known as the Easter egg hunt church. I mean, they drop Easter egg hunts from the sky. And I'm telling you, kids show up in droves. It's amazing. And so they're known for these events. And they're known for these one time. And I think that's great. But making sure that we focus on this ministry initiative as multiple touch points. So that's our mistake one. Number two is keeping everything inside the walls of the church. We expect new people to come to our church building first. And then, I think through as a league director in the past myself, there's many families. Upward Sports brings in, last year alone, there's 51% of families across all Upward Sports leagues, which was around 228,000 children that played last year. 51% were unchurched. So I think of these families that are showing up to your church. They have no church background. You're expecting them to step into a worship service. It can feel unfamiliar. It also can feel intimidating. And so we try to keep everything inside the walls. And I think that's our sports ministry. This is almost like this better way where you get to go out of the walls to meet them where they are. Talk a little bit about how you at your church through your ministry, you get out of the walls for sure.
Yeah, as I mentioned before with the first talking point, relationship building is key, and you can only do so much of that inside the four walls of your sanctuary or church. And as we're again, if we're referencing the Bible and thinking about that, Jesus met people where they were at. He went to them, and
Hmm.
it was a great opportunity for him to deepen that connection, that relationship, because he's meeting them in their comfortable space and walking through life with them in that space, which I think is such an important concept for us. And I don't know, I think about this a lot, guys. Like, church isn't really for us. It's like to reach people and to get out there, and coming to church is so important and vital. And like our purpose is to get people that are outside of the church into the church. And you said one really big thing, that it's feedback that I've gotten over the years about church being intimidating. And people have this view of what church is like, so they can see us. We're real people. We're just like them. We're out in the community, being involved in community
Hmm.
events, and having an outreach out in the community is so vital and important. And one thing that you had touched on in the initial talking point is one thing that has been an incredible benefit for us is we don't have a gym on our property. So we utilize school districts within our communities, and it has been amazing. Like, we've been praying for a gym, but honestly, I think God's like, no, like the impact that you're able to have out in the community. So we're partnering with two different school districts. We're in about 10 different schools throughout our basketball season, and the connections that we're able to make because we're not inside of our walls and we are outside of our walls with
Hmm.
administration, with teachers, with professional in the school district. It's been incredible.
I love it. I like to think of you, Tim, as like you're the master connector. I say that a lot of times. I feel like if Tim came and asked you to do something, you'd be like, yes, because you're so relational and you're so intentional in that. I really don't know how to pray about this gym situation. Like, do we pray for the gym? Do we not? I'm just praying God's will
Yeah.
be done there. Um, but I do think about the schools that you have connected with. I know we've been up there many times. We actually did a video of this, and so I'll include that in this email as well, so that you can actually see the ministry work that takes place. And some of these superintendents and district leaders are in this video. You know, outside of Upward Sports or outside of your sports ministry, you and I talked about this before, where when something good or something bad happens within that school district, who do
Yeah.
they call? They
Yeah.
call Townsend Church,
Yeah.
because you are a familiar face inside of that school district, as well as I've heard you say they love us because we leave it better than we
Mhm.
found it. And so
Yeah.
you guys set such a precedent in that school district. I know families, when they think we're going to go to church, where do we go? They see you in the school. They know the quality league and ministry that you put on, so they show up to church.
Yeah.
So keeping everything inside of our walls only hurts us. It doesn't, it hurts us, it hurts the community, and it allows us not to be the hands and the feet. And so sometimes we get it confused. When I'm working with churches, I hear their mission, and everyone's mission is to go, to share, to get outside of the walls. But a lot of times we limit ourselves by keeping
Mhm.
everything there.
Yeah.
So I love
I love
that.
what you said there, Jennifer, just because like part of like that connection that you're able to establish when you are out in the community, you had made mention like we've had opportunities to lead praying at the pole. We've had
Mhm.
opportunities to speak at graduations. We've had opportunities to, I was telling Jennifer when we were speaking this week about, unfortunately, we're at a space now in our society and culture where even elementary schools have suicide teams at
Yeah,
their schools. So we've
absolutely.
been asked to be a part of those as part of the board or the panel on those. So again, it just establishes and creates these deep connection and connective relationships. And the other part of that, which is awesome, not only through the school districts, but then the families see that we're not just about, hey, we're running this program so that you can come to our church. We're about caring for the people and showing them, yeah, sports is great. We love sports. We love the outreach, but it's really about caring for people and loving people the way that Jesus calls us to do that, which is vital.
I love that. I like to tell people, when I'm talking to them lately is like, how do we become the neighborhood church where
Yeah.
our community sees us? And I think you guys do such a great job on that. So if you're on here and maybe that is what holds you back from starting a sports outreach program, you say, I don't have a facility. Many churches I speak with are landlocked and they have a beautiful church and they're struggling to say, where can we do this? I would say it's hard to get it started at a local school, but once you're in there and you're building those relationships, man, it unlocks the door for way more ministry than sports ministry. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can remember when we first started, we didn't have fields at our church, so we were even going and using the different schools. And thinking about the
Mhm.
first few years, I think we used maybe 4 or 5 different fields at different
Oh.
schools that were just open. And I had to ask a few people, a few different schools before the yes came through. But just not giving up and not stopping is so important. And I'm telling you, like after 17 years of doing this, like the fruit that you see and the effort that you put in is so worth it. And the people that come to know the Lord through your determination and your work ethic to make this happen is just awesome.
I love that. So if you're on here, I hope that encourages you. Get outside the walls. Don't
Mhm.
expect everything to stay there. So that's our second point.
Mm.
As this sparks questions for you, drop them in there. Um, or give us your ideas. We love hearing what works for you guys as well. So our third, and this is as you and I have talked this week, I'm like, this is my problem, is carrying the load alone. These are mistakes that we make in outreach. And that is where we rely on the same group of dedicated volunteers. Maybe your church is small, right? You feel like it's extremely small, and you say, you know what? I have to use the same volunteers for rocking babies as I have to use in the youth group. I can't start this because I'm just going to just use this same group of volunteers. Um, Another fun stat, 46% of our coaches and volunteers last year were not associated with the church in which they served. And that means they were still believers, but they attend another church in the community, and you are giving them the opportunity to serve and to share the gospel. And so don't carry the load alone. Don't rob someone else of their joy of serving. I like to say, while the commitment is admirable, that the same group of volunteers is leading, the approach will often lead, and it will lead to exhaustion, and it unintentionally signals to others there's no place for you to get involved here.
Yeah.
And over time, burnout will set in. Families may actually leave your church because you're using the same volunteers. And what truly happens where you're really wanting that outreach, the outreach momentum actually slows down. What are your thoughts on that? I know that you guys aren't like this huge, humongous church.
Mm-mm.
So starting out, probably you struggled with having to find volunteers or maybe using the same. What's the
Yeah.
better approach that we could have
Yeah.
for that one?
Yeah, I know if you're in ministry at all, you know this. There are a core group of people that you can count on and lean on. And what I've learned over the years is to not steal that joy from them, but also be recognized that it does create burnout and it does create exhaustion, and to reach out to multiple different groups of people. And I'll just give you a couple examples of that include upward and that don't include upward. And one of my favorites, it actually just happened this past summer. And part of it is because of our realization through our involvement in upward to widen our scope for who we're asking to volunteer. So before I get into the story, I just want to say this. The first thing to think about and was so important. It's awesome to stand and like give announcements in the church. Hey, we have this great opportunity to serve. But when you're face to face, and again, this goes back to the relationship aspect. When you're face to face, if I want Jennifer and I see Jennifer, I see her gifts and her abilities that God has blessed us with, and I walk or with her, and I walk up to her, I'm like, hey, Jennifer, we have this awesome opportunity for you to serve with our upward sports program, and we think you would just be awesome. That individual ask, man, it's been amazing. And a lot of time it unlocks something within somebody that they don't even recognize that they might have. So
That's
just
true.
going and giving them the opportunity, empowering them. So this example happened. We've gone on mission trips over the years, many years. And this past one thing that has been just one of those things that we try to take care of ourselves as leaders is the food as we go. And we have this wonderful woman. Her name is Miss Linda. She's 80 years old, almost 80 years old in our church. And we went down to serve down in Carolina where all the floods happened this past summer. And I said, hey, Miss Linda, we have this need. We're staying at this place and we need somebody to help us with food. She was like, I would love to. And she came along and served her little tail off.
Oh.
Or she was exhausted and she loved it. She was part of our Devos. She got to connect with our kids. So she cannot wait until this summer to do it again. So I
Hmm.
love that idea. Like we think like, oh, people are too old. They're not going to want to do it until we ask and we give them the opportunity. The other one that it's been amazing for me to see is I'm thinking about in the book of Timothy where it talks about don't let anybody look down on you because of your youth. Our youth in our church love to serve, and the hearts that they have for serving have really come because of the opportunities that have been presented to them with Upward. So we have so many youth serving between setup and concession stand and reffing and coaching, and it's just awesome. And we go to them and create that ask. And the third part of it, Jennifer, that I'm thinking about, and sorry if I'm talking too much, but the
No,
third
you're
part
doing
of that
great.
is the families. For me personally, when I had an opportunity to really pray about this and think about this with something that Jennifer asked me to do not too long ago with a 30-year celebration of Upward. Where the impact that it's had on my family, my
Mhm.
wife and my four kids, we've been able to serve together. And what that does for our family unit and our family dynamic is amazing. So go to a family and be like, hey, like we have an opportunity for you to serve in this capacity in a concession stand, set up, breakdown, whatever it can be. The one thing that I love seeing on a Saturday is a father and a son reffing a football game together. Like, come on. Like that's just awesome.
Come on.
So
That's
so
right.
thinking outside the box and thinking about individual ask in all different age groups, and it doesn't matter. Like people have that desire to serve. They're just not sure how to do it sometimes.
I love it. So don't just lean on your same small group of dedicated volunteers. While that's great, step out of the boat and truly ask somebody. When I would fill my positions when I was a league director, I would literally, when I would show up on campus each Sunday morning, I would say, Lord, give me eyes to see
Mhm.
people's passion. So when I saw the gentleman holding the door open for the entire group of people and speaking to them, I was like, John, you have a gift for this. I would love to invite you to be our part of our welcome team when our parents park, or giving people, like you said, asking them, walking up to them and recognizing the strengths that God has given them and asking them to step into it is huge. And when someone recognizes that about you and says, I noticed this about you, I want you to step in, that is just it's the one of the best compliments that you
Yeah,
really can get. So if you're on
yeah.
here and you're worried about, first off, I can't, that's a couple of questions I saw when people registered is we're a small church and we don't have a lot of volunteers. Well, I would say start small, start with what you have. And if
Mhm.
God has laid it on your heart, he can definitely bring you volunteers. And you don't need a lot of volunteers to start, for sure. But don't carry the load alone. That was our third topic. Our fourth one, you sort of hit on about your family that serves. But this is more about don't miss the family connection. Maybe if you're on here and you're thinking about your own ministries within your church, maybe you plan outreach that connects either kids or adults. Maybe you say, hey, this program is just for kids, but parents are not involved. That doesn't really create a lasting tie. That really turns into more like a daycare drop-off event. Or maybe it's just adult focused, but it does not include kids. And oftentimes that makes the family unit feel excluded. When I think about Upward Sports, it's what Tim just said. On Saturday mornings, you pull up, you see a large gym, a large field, all ages, birth to almost heaven, right? You see them all there. You see elderly people serving, you see young people coaching, you see middle aged, you see little babies in the strollers that are sitting there with their parents. It's multi-generational. It is
Yeah.
the whole thing. And so I love it. So that's something I would say that I feel when I put these points together that is a mistake, is that we miss the entire family connection. What about you? What are some thoughts you have on that?
Yeah, I think like some of the things that you touched on, just walking into the Upward and seeing the multi-generational aspect of it is so I got goosebumps as you were saying it because I'm envisioning the same thing that
Me
you're
too.
talking about, and it's so exciting. And one thing that we do for our program is the first day and the last day, we have moon bounces. So like you got the
Mm,
families like are surrounding the moon bounces, and we this last Saturday we had water ice, so families are getting water ice, and it's just like we have a picnic area and we have like a swing area where families are gathered and together. So yes, you're doing a ministry, but you're also creating these other avenues to help that. And also, I started thinking about, and this kind of goes along with the last one as well, Jennifer, is just the idea of the family connection where, um, well, a couple things. First of all, well, Upward does, which is amazing, and I think it's really important. If we think about sport, the way that it's going right now in this society and culture, it's taken on a whole new meaning. It's
mhm,
travel sports, it's so much time, it's like running from here and running from there. One thing that I love where the focus is on family. So you're coming for practice 1 day a week, for about an hour, hour and a half, depending upon your age group. You're coming to game days if you have one kid for an hour, hour and a half. So it's like we focus on that family time and we talk about that throughout the ministry and throughout the
mhm,
season. We're like, hey, there's a reason why we do this. Could your team use more practice? Probably, but we see more value in spending time with
mhm,
family. Um, so just that idea, and then the second part of it, Jennifer, that I was thinking about is one thing that I've also loved is how, yes, it's great for families within the church to serve. But what we also do is we create opportunities for families that aren't involved in church, but involved in the
mhm.
ministry to come serve. So we're like, hey, we need some help in the concession stand. We'll partner you up with somebody in our church. And what an awesome opportunity for an unchurched family to partner with a church family so that they can connect, create and establish those relationships. So one of my favorite things about Upward is their focus on family, and it's been awesome to experience on a lot of different levels.
I wish I could bottle it up for all of you guys to uh, understand and just feel an Upward Sports game day.
Yeah.
Maybe if you've been on here, I'd love to know. I've been a part of Upward Sports game day. Like, I wish I could bottle it up because I feel like it is. It's just what community is. It's what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. It's in the
Yeah.
the intentionality of it. When done well, it is such an experience. And guys, I'll tell you, if parents feel that their kids are loved, cared for, it's a safe space. I'm a mom of two boys. You're a parent. When
Yeah.
we know that our kid feels like the apple of someone else's eye for that
Mhm.
moment, um, we'll come back. We'll pay for it. We'll
Yeah.
invest in it. We'll be there because you make them feel special because they're special to us. And
Amen.
kids are special, guys. And so, if you're on here, we'd love to talk more with you about how to get this started in your community because families are looking. You and I have talked about this many times, Tim. They're looking for a place to be seen, to be
Yeah.
heard, to be cared for. And that's your church. They just don't know at this moment that they need Jesus. And that's our
Yeah.
responsibility to tell them.
Yeah, one thing that I just also just love about this, Jennifer, is when you were talking, I just started thinking about the atmosphere and environment that this creates. And if some of you that are on this call have been involved in a sports league that isn't Upward or is is out in the community, you've probably experienced something not great. And
Yeah,
you've probably experienced like cussing and anger and just ugliness. And what I love about this is we make sure we do our best to try to create, like you said, a safe environment where they're going to experience something different, and not because of who
hmm
we are, but because of who
agree.
Jesus is.
That's
And
right.
and that in itself allows them to, I can't even tell you over the years, why is your league different? It's because of Jesus. Like
That's
that's
right.
why. Why is
Why are
this a
we
different?
different?
Yeah,
Right?
right. It's because of Jesus, and it just creates those avenues to deepen the relationships again, and the conversations, just to talk about how amazing Jesus is.
I love that. And so, guys, for this fourth point about don't miss the family connection, is also by reaching the family as a whole, it will create a deeper root for future
Yeah.
ministry. You're able to ask the mom. You and I talked about this a couple of days ago. Because you're in creating this environment for the parent, you're able to ask the mom to come to the mother's Bible study. You're
Yes.
able to ask the dad to step into a men's Bible study on a Wednesday night. Um, Families want to feel connected, but they don't want it to be on unfamiliar terms.
Right.
And so if you invite them, Upward Sports is the on-ramp. I always say it is one of the entry points to the discipleship pathway. And so
Mm.
you're able to allow them to come to your gym, allow them to come to your field, invite them to the gym that's at the school where they drop their kids off every day. They feel familiar. Then you're able to do the ask, which we go back to another point where you ask somebody to serve. You're able to ask this family to join you on a Sunday or to join you in this Bible study or whatever you're doing. And so I love that. Don't miss the family connection.
It's good.
Anything else? I feel like I saw your wheels turning.
No, 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 you're good. You're good. Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for asking. Yeah.
Okay. Our fifth point, keep the questions coming, guys, or give us your thoughts. There's some good stuff in there. Our fifth one is my problem in a lot of things. Because we want to create exceptional experiences, but sometimes we want to wait until it's perfect, which we know there's no such thing as perfection here on this earth, but we want to wait until it's perfect.
Mm.
And so a lot of times you delay outreach until every detail is worked out, until you have the perfect plan created, you have the perfect team that's ready to serve. You might even have the perfect facilities, that's sparkly and that's shiny. In the meantime, the opportunity to engage the community just passes you by. Um, and you and I have talked about this where I feel like this is my biggest hiccup. When I was starting my league, I felt like we don't have these bleachers that I can pull out. So parents are going to be standing on the side of the wall. Um, and how am I going to get them in and out? Because I have 180 kids that have signed up. And what about fire hazards and all of this stuff? I was really stressing out. And guys, I delayed a whole season because I felt like in my mind, everything was not perfect. Um, the league was never perfect, by the way, but it was just what the community needed. And so I would say don't wait until it's perfect because you miss those outreach opportunities. What about you? Even starting small, we talked about that before as well.
Yeah, I think you made a point when we were talking this week just about like being a parent. You're like, well, I'm not ready. I need to be
That's true.
financially prepared. I need to, oh, wait a second. You're never going to be ready to be a parent. It doesn't matter
No.
how much money you have or how much you think you're ready. You're never going to be ready to be prepared.
Ready or
You're
not,
never going to
here
be
you
Yeah,
come.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So one thing like Jennifer that I just love is that you're not going to be ready and it's not going to be perfect. And to go into recognizing that you're going to have learning curves and that's okay. We have learned our league is drastically different, and not just because of the numbers. Our league is drastically different than the 80, 78 that we started with when we first started. And so the idea of starting small, start with what you have and be okay with that.
Mhm.
Be gracious for that and be excited about it. And what I just noticed and thinking back to the first couple years, like God provided and God provided. If we needed volunteers, God provided. If we needed space, God provided. If we needed time, like God just steps up in big and mighty ways. If your focus throughout this whole thing is on Him, He's going to
Hmm.
step in incredible ways. And I'll just give you a quick little story about this. As our league was growing, we're running out of space, and so we're started at school fields, which was great, but we're just running out of space. So we're praying about property next to our field, next to our church. So we ended up buying property next to our church, and it was farm field, and there were farms and silos, and we're like, man, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna make. God, what are we doing here? Like, what did we just get ourselves into? And over the course of the next year, guys, like how God showed up was incredible. And I didn't think we were ready for it. And God's like, yes, you are, because I'm in it. And He gave us over $200,000 worth of free
Wow.
fill dirt. He provided a free guy working a bulldozer to knock stuff down and push dirt around and like get our fields ready and prepared so that we could be in a space. So there's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be this is the exact time you got to do it. It's God will provide. So like this says,
Mm.
like start small, build momentum. Like don't worry about numbers at first. Start with one division with this age group and just go from there and just watch how God moves in it and builds it. It's awesome. I say that a
Um,
lot. I'm sorry. It's just awesome. I love it.
no,
I
it is
think, yeah.
awesome. It's an awesome thing. One thing I wrote down here, it, families and your communities are impacted more by consistent presence than a polished performance.
That's
A
awesome.
lot of times we really want to polish it, and there's a difference between this polished performance and creating an excellent environment that families feel welcome. I think God calls us to create. If we are representing Him, we need to be at top notch. I am a firm believer in that, not
100%
halfway
agree.
doing things at
Yep.
all. But there is a difference between this polished performance and saying everything I have to have all my ducks in a row or I can't start.
Mhm.
I'm just reminded of you and I have talked about this many times in the Bible. The people we talked about all these men in the Bible, and God used the ones that were not the most polished performers, right? And a lot of
That's
times
right.
the majority of times they were so far from this perfect example. And so know that you will mess up. I can think
Mhm.
back of my 12 years of serving as a league director, and there were more times that I got it wrong than I got it right. And that's where families showed me grace, or my coaches showed me grace because I didn't allow them to lead like they wanted to at times because I was keeping this perfection there, trying to. I think that's where we grow in ministry together. And I think as a league director, you are going to get to use the gifts God has given to you. You're going to get it wrong. People are going to show you grace. But guess what? Because what you learn, you're going to be able to empathize with others and walk with them in their ministry journey as
Yeah.
well. Anything else on top on number 5? So we went through our 5 mistakes in outreach that I see when I have the opportunity and privilege to speak with leaders on your
Yeah.
side.
I don't think so, Jennifer. I think the talking points that you had were great. Um, and I don't know. I know you have something else to say, so I will piggyback off of what
No,
you're about
you
to
go
talk
right
about.
ahead.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
just like guys, I know it's scary. I know like I was in your shoes. I still am in your shoes. Like every season comes up and it's like there's a new challenge and something new that's gonna come and you just gotta do it, man. Just get in the mess, get in the trenches. And I'm telling you, like just from my experience, like because of our eyes fixed on Jesus, because of our intentionality and making sure that He is at the center and He is the focus, people are hearing about Jesus that may not ever hear. And if you're
Yes.
waiting for something to happen, you're going to miss out on some opportunities. Jennifer and I talked about this past week, where if you delay, think about all those opportunities that you're missing out on to reach these people and to tell them about Jesus. And who knows when Jesus is coming again? You know He's coming. So who knows?
Yes,
So if
he
you're
is.
delaying, waiting for the perfect opportunity, you're missing out on so many opportunities. And guys, I am such an Upward advocate. I'm not paid by Upward. I don't like, I'm not like on staff there. I just love Upward so much because of what it's done within our community and because of the relationships that it's been able to establish and strengthen. And it is an exciting thing to be a part of. I look forward to every single season. We do flag football and basketball. We just finished up flag football. We're rolling into basketball, and I can't wait. Like it's kind of sad when it ends. Like it's exhausting and it's very
You get a
tiring.
minute
So
to
I'm
breathe.
excited
Come
to get to
on.
breathe a little bit, but I can't wait to get back out there. And it's 17 years into it, and I'm still so excited. And our whole team is like, we look for our whole church is like, we have like our church loves Upward because they see the value and they see that what it's brought into the kingdom of God. And it's awesome to be a part of, guys. And they are an incredible support. Anything that you need from beginning to end, the input that you give them, they respond right away. It's just they walk alongside you. They'll give you resources. They'll give you examples of how to make your program better. And like this webinar, a perfect example, like they're just incredible to partner with.
Thank you. He does not get paid by Upward, but he should, because you do such an amazing job. I was going to tell you guys, when you're on here and you're thinking through 2026 and you're thinking, maybe you're a pastor on here and you're looking for new outreach strategies or outreach opportunity. Sports is one pathway. I know there are many others that you can use. So hear me say that I know sports is not the only one. So I do know there's other ways. But I can tell you, as being on staff here for 20 years and being past league director, this is one of the fewest ways. I really can't think of anything other ways that bring in families on a consistent basis that they feel and they continue to come back. Especially your community, it reaches your community in a different way and you're seen in a different way. Kids are playing sports regardless. Families are playing sports. So why not invite them to your place for this sports on your terms? So a couple of things I want to share with you, and we're going to open it up for questions. So as you have these questions about Upward Sports or maybe one of these mistakes that we talked about, drop them in there. Some people have already put questions. We're answering this, but Tim explained a little bit about Upward Sports and how this works. So at Upward, we partner with local churches. So we do have to partner with a church or a 501c3 that is like a church. And then we will help train your leader. So I would think through your mind, do you have someone on staff, or can you think of that individual in your congregation that loves sports, that loves young people, that you can say, I need to ask them to help lead? Well, if you can find them and bring them back to us, we'll train them. And then we provide everything to you from start to finish: online registration tools, the online registration system. My team will do social media advertising in your community. We want to make your community aware that you're there with sports. And so we run social ads for you. You get to pick and choose what you want to put in your player box. Some of you on here have been past Upward Sports churches in the past, and you're thinking about coming back to use sports. Well, back then you bought a box and that's all it was. And whatever was in that box is what stayed. Well, now you get to a la carte what goes in that box. Is it a jersey? Is it a t-shirt? Is it a basketball? Is it a coach shirt? So everything is your choice. You decide what you include. And then from there, all of the ministry resources, your devotions, everything is there. Our devotions, our materials are refreshed every year so that your coaches get different sets of devotions every single season. If you run all 5 sports, you get 5 different devotions. Just another way that keeps you as the ministry fresh, organized, intentional. And again, if you're wondering what ages this is for, kindergarten through high school is what we offer in our recreation side. The sports we offer is basketball, soccer, flag football, cheerleading, volleyball, baseball, softball. We just launched pickleball for middle school and high schoolers as well. So that's fun. And then we also have one adult sport that is running, and that is not for children. It is just anyone over 18. And that's a great way to even bring a 5K challenge to your small groups. I think in the new year, that's a wonderful tool to bring and get people walking or running in the new year unified together. So that gives a little bit about Upward Sports. We're a ministry partner. We do not want to just give you something and walk away. We're going to train your leaders. We're going to walk with you through the trenches as well. Just like Tim said, he's been doing this 18 years and we're still there. We're still with him. We want to be. Right. If something doesn't work, you tell us. if it is affecting your outreach and your ministry, what you're doing in your unique community, we want to fix it. We want to help you with that. So that's in a nutshell, a little bit about who Upward Sports is, what we do. We're one-stop shop, I would say, from sports ministry. Anything you would add to that, Tim, as an Upward Sports league director?
Yeah, I really want, and Jennifer mentioned this, but I think to understand that you're not going to be alone in this is incredible. They have so many different people that are available to reach out and be there for you. And they have regional directors that come out and can meet with you and can walk alongside you for some of it
True.
as well, where they can be in constant communication, which is great. So you're not alone in this. And
Mm.
a lot fall on you, of course, because you're in the trench. You're responsible for a lot of the stuff, but you're not alone. And that's been so encouraging for me and our team here at Townsend Church because we know that we can lean on them. And what's been great too, you're with like-minded people, and the
Agree.
relationships that I've been able to form with Jennifer, with Travis, with Drew, and these other folks within Upward have been incredible. And I consider them my friends. I consider them my family. Like they've been
Me too.
amazing. And it's just another opportunity for us to continue to grow the kingdom of God together.
I agree. I agree on that. We're going to answer a few questions. Bear with me 5 or 10 more minutes, and then we're going to draw to see who is the lucky winner.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. I'm going to
There were a couple
start.
there, Jen. Do you mind if I jump in? And just
Yeah,
there were a
sure.
few that
Go
I
ahead.
just saw.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
That's great.
somebody asked about how hard was it to promote. Another great
Great
thing that
question.
Upward does is that they provide resources for you to promote the league.
Yeah.
So one thing that we did when we first started off is they have like brochures that you can pass out wherever. So we would get those brochures. Do you still offer those,
hmm
Jennifer?
We
I'm
don't
assuming
do
you do.
brochures
Yes.
anymore. We do promo cards, but
Promo cards, yeah.
you and
But
I call
same.
them brochures.
Yeah, sorry, sorry. I'm aging
They're
myself
like a
now.
brochure.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
like a brochure. They should have a cuter name now. Promo card.
I love it. So promo cards. We'll go promo cards. But anyway, we used to go into the school district. And I remember we used to get them all sent to us. We'd rubber band
Mm.
them based
Me
upon the
too. Me
numbers for
too.
schools, and we'd walk them into the school district, and they would hand them out to the school district, which again is another connection, even if you're not using the facilities. So they offer that. They offer logos for yard signs that you can put up around the community. So they offer all of these resources that you can blast it throughout your community. They offer different resources to put it on the web or to for the radio stations in your
Yeah.
area. So one thing that I love about Upward is that they have all these back end resources that you don't have to create, which is amazing. Like so you just have to click the resource page and see what you can find, which is has a plethora of stuff in there. One of my favorite words.
Plethora is a good word. So he's talking about this resource center. So when you become an Upward Sports Church partner, you will have a platform called My Upward that is created just for you. It will contain all of your resources for that sport based off the timeline that you create inside of there. You get to turn on the coach app when you are ready. And then, you can refer back to this for years. There's also a fabulous communication system in there where you email and you can text. So I love that. So, and I think it was Laura that asked that. Laura, we will help you with as a first year partner. You get really good incentives as a first year partner. So we actually run your social media for 4 weeks for you in your community. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to answer a question that someone had sent me personally is what is your favorite resource? They're talking about you, Tim. They sent me a
Mm.
message directly. It said, what is Tim's favorite ministry resource that he utilizes? There's a lot, I know, but what do you
Yeah, there's
feel
so
is one of
many.
your favorite ones?
I would say, I hate to say this because it's on your phone, but I would say the app. And
I agree with that.
the reason why I'm going to say that is because it has everything right there at your fingertips. And my favorite part about the app is the communication aspect of it. Like
Me too.
you don't have to go and like add all these phone numbers to your phone. You don't have to add all these emails to your queue. Like everything is done right from the app. So I can send a blast email out to the entire league. I can pick like if there's 8 teams that practice on Monday, I can just pick Monday practice nights. If I just want to
Mhm.
communicate to the coaches, I can do that. If I just want to communicate to the parents, I can do that. So there's lots of different avenues for that communication aspect, which I think is vital to a successful league is the communication. So I would say the app is probably just on the spot, thinking my favorite resource that Upward provides.
I agree. One resource that I was talking to a church partner this morning, and they loved the scouting report, and
Mm,
that is new, sort of hot off the press a little bit,
mm,
maybe 2 years, but that scouting report is what your coaches use prior to their devotions, and it helps them grow in their walk. So if they're walking through John 1, it would give them a little more information on the adult level versus when they present it to the children in their at their team. So I think that's a really neat addition to help coaches grow in their spiritual walk as well. That's
yeah.
something we haven't really hit. Speaking of, this is a great segue. Somebody says, how many coaches are needed to run a league, and are your coaches all from the same church?
Great question. So the number of coaches is going to be dependent upon the number of participants, which dictates the number of teams that you have. So, for instance, just where our league is now, we're maxed out because of our space. Unfortunately, we're maxed out at 450 kids in our basketball league, which you have to have at least one coach per team, unless there's one guy that coaches multiple teams, one guy or girl
Hmm.
that coaches multiple teams. So, we have for our 450 kids, we have 45 teams because we do 10 per team just so we can max out the number of people that are involved.
Hmm.
So we have at least 45 coaches, but most of the time or at least one per team, but a lot of times two or more per team. So it just depends on the number of participants. And the second part of the question, no, they're not all from the same church, not even close. We have multiple churches that are involved in our league, which is great. And so we do pull from other churches for coaches as well. And also, we pull on parents. So just because they're not believers, we equip them and we have coaches meetings which equip them to do the devos. But part of what we do, and I'm getting a little bit maybe too deep into this,
No, this
Jennifer,
is
sorry.
good. No, this is good.
But
This is
part of what
great.
we do is like we'll either partner them with a believer, so that and somebody that's been involved in the league so they can see, or for the if they are by themselves coaching the team, we'll put them on a night practicing where
It's great.
they do have another team there so that they can combine Devo time so that they're not missing out on the devotion portion of it.
I love that. I think that's great. And one thing that we do help with when it comes to finding coaches is you'll have an online registration link that is unique to your league that you'll be able to share out. And then you will also have a link for volunteers or coaches to sign up. So you'll have those working simultaneously. And if someone's registering their child, it will ask the question that says, are you open to coaching on this in this league as well? And then that leads us into your next question, Anna. Great. It's like you did a great job. Is the vetting process for your
Yeah.
coaches. We ask that you do background checks, but all of that really is going to be how you run your ministry. Let's keep in mind, this Upward Sports is there to power you and to be your ministry partner. But essentially, this is Townsend Church's sports ministry.
Right.
Everything that they do in their children's department, they create that process. Could you speak any more to that, your vetting process there, Tim, for
Yeah, for
coaches?
sure. Yeah, we use a background check and our
Yeah,
coaches have to go through a background check. And if something
us
pops
too.
up that is like a DUI they got 15 years ago, like we sit down and talk with the person about it. And so yeah, it's through for sure the start of it is through the background check. The second part of it is it's mandatory to attend the coaches meeting. And if they don't attend the coaches meeting, then we connect with them. Just if we don't know them, we connect with them just to get to know them.
Hmm.
And if they're known in the community, we ask other families just for some feedback as well. So yes, there's absolutely a vetting process that goes along with it.
That's great. I'm going to answer two more questions I chose, and then if I didn't get to your questions, I will respond to you. One, Mike says, how long does the Upward Sport season run? I'll answer that one, and then Tim can tell us how long his runs. We typically, all of our curriculum, Mike, is written for up to 12 weeks. So we provide you with up to 12 weeks of curriculum. But you create your timeline based off of the dates your facility is available. For me, when I was doing my league, I needed it to be done by the end of March for my basketball league for kids that were wanting to play spring sports or baseball. So I wanted to keep that in mind for sure. And so you pick and choose your timeline. It might be 6 weeks of games and 8 weeks of practice. It might be 10 weeks of games and 12 weeks of practice. We normally say to give 1 to 2 weeks of practice time ahead of your games. But we have a handy dandy timeline that we give you, and you work backwards from the end of your when do you want to end, and then it backs everything up for you. And so we can get that to you as well, Mike. That really helps me. I actually print it out and we'll write it down and work backwards for my timeline. What about yours, Tim? Tell us about your season. How long is your basketball? I know you're getting ready for
Yeah.
that.
Both of our seasons are the same. They don't run obviously the same time of year,
Right.
but we do 3 weeks of practice, and then that last week of practice is when our first game starts. So it's 3 weeks of practice, 8 week of games. So yeah, very
Perfect.
similar to what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and it's worked out great. The caveat and the wrinkle, I guess, is if there's a cancellation because of weather or um, the school for some reason has to shut down. So we always allow a
A
little
bye week or
buffer there at
something.
the end of the season. Or one
Hmm.
thing that we've done for our flag football season is we do Friday night lights now for a
Love
couple of the
that.
games. So most of our games are on Saturdays, but we do Friday night lights, which allows us, like, if we need to do back to back, like Friday and a Saturday because of a cancellation, it helps us do that as well.
So when you schedule your call, that's gonna be my next step is to help you understand what do we do to get this started. When you schedule a call, our onboarding team will listen to you first to hear what you're wanting to do. They also do this approach to look at your entire community where you're at to see what is the best sport to start in. And then they actually help you create your timeline. And then you'll have a first year representative that walks you through. Tim, you didn't have this. But they now have a first year representative that walks them through the entire season to make sure you order things on time, you set up your league correctly, you know how to utilize the communication system. They're actually on your team. We're always on your team, but they are really on your team that first
Mm.
year as they're standing there with you, supporting you. So they'll help you create that. My last question that I did want to answer that Cameron asked was, would it be beneficial to partner with the local YMCA? And yes, you definitely could partner with the YMCA. We have 2 or 3 churches that I spoke with just last month. I might could get you their name, Cameron, that actually partner with the local YMCA. The only thing is, sometimes they have their own sports that they want to run, but you could definitely have a conversation. And then the last question was, I did want to answer this one too. Can you get community sponsors to fund this? Great question. Yes, you can. A lot of this, so that you know, is when you create your player package, this is a self-sustaining ministry. So that means you do not have to have this elaborate budget sitting here to be able to start Upward Sports. There are no annual fees, there is no yearly royalty fees. It's your ministry, right? Um, so if Upward were whatever you put in your box, if your box ended up being $50 and you said, I am going to charge my parents $70, all of those fees come to your church, and then you would pay Upward their portion, but then you would keep that remainder to pay the lights. Maybe you pay older coaches. I know when I hit 8th grade, I paid my coaches. I mean, not my coaches, my referees. So you could definitely do that. Or if you're renting, Tim has to rent. So you can bake all of that in. We have budgets for you as well. But there are many churches, and Tim, you can speak to this if you guys do it. I have many church partners that have local sponsors that help families in the community play to be part of their league. For my own church, I even had families that did not have children that were in the league that could not serve as coaches or volunteers, and that's how they did it. They were able to adopt a player and help them play. Any thoughts on the sponsor side of things?
Yeah, we don't actively go out and seek sponsors.
Mm,
So at the beginning, just when we first started, our church did have to put up front some money for like materials, equipment, and stuff like that. But honestly, I really think it's after year one, like we've been self-sustaining and in fact have
yes.
money in the bank so that we can make the program better and throw money into the program. We do hire um, like high school officials for our basketball, which is part of the cost. But yeah, facility rents and all that. So anyway, we have gotten people that we haven't had to ask, but people that are invested, we have a local car dealership that every single year donates $1,000
That's
because
awesome.
he sees the value in it. We have people that um, provide like donate like porta potties to the league. We have people
That's
that we
awesome.
have a guy that works at Frito-Lay that Frito-Lay donates like food for our concession stand. So there are these different people out there. We haven't had to ask, but they just show up, which is again an opportunity for God to
A
provide.
God thing.
Yeah, we had somebody donate $25,000 to put lights on our flag football field. So it's been really cool, and
Hmm.
it's all because of God and what He's done.
I love that. So if you're on here, I hope this was a brief snapshot of 5 mistakes churches make in outreach, but I hope it helped answer your question about how Upward Sports would love to help you overcome all 5 of these, because I feel like that is such a great pathway that would allow that. Tim, thank you so much, as always, for your knowledge, your wisdom. You do a great job.
I appreciate you, Jennifer. You do too.
Oh, thanks.
Mm.
Okay, I want to give you
Oh,
your next steps really quick. Oh, you'll see this in here where you can schedule your call. That's your next step is go to upward.org/church-leaders. There is a learn more or a schedule a call. If you learn more, it'll give you a little bit more information. You'll see a gospel video trailer that you have access to. There is a sample devotion in there that you can see. But the main thing is we'd love to talk to you. That's your first step is tell us what you want to do. Tell us your church goals, your mission, and then we'll work with you. We want to be your ministry partner. And if this was helpful, let us know as well. We always want to know. All right, we're going to draw a $500 sports startup grant. I know many of you have hung out for that reason. And this grant is it does have to go toward your Upward Sports League. And what we do is it does need to be used by the end of May. That means you need to create a league by May. So that's either a spring or a fall league in my mind of 2026. And so that is a grant that can be used towards scholarshiping players to play. It can go toward equipment that you may need to get started, or it can go toward marketing. I know I've had some churches where I've given this before. They use the $500 of marketing to help build awareness. So I'm gonna give you 1 or 2 seconds to put your church name in there. If you haven't, yes, you can send it to me personally if you don't want your information in there. Get that too. So feel free to do that really quick. And Tim gets to choose a number between 1 and 38. So don't be messaging him and telling him to choose your name. That's why I'm telling him a number. And then I will reach out to you personally, and we will go from there. Okay, Tim, 1 through 38. Pick a
So I'm a big John Stockton fan. I'm gonna go 12. 12 is the number.
12. Okay, so give me a second to let go now count down to 12. I'm glad you didn't choose 38. It would take a minute. Okay, I don't know what church this person is with. Hang on, let me scroll up so I can get it. Did everybody put their name? Okay, here we go. Says Anna from Oregon. Anna, you are the lucky winner.
Let's go, Anna.
Let's go,
Let's
Anna.
go.
Let's go, Anna. She says, yay.
Yay,
Anna, you are the
Anna.
lucky winner of the $500 sports startup grant. And so I will be reaching out to you. I am also going to email you. It will not be today. Give us a minute to put all this on YouTube, but I will email this out to you. And then it'll also include the 5 mistakes churches make in outreach PDF. Maybe you want to share this with your leadership team, and that's great. Feel free to do that. I am going to close this in prayer. And then again, thank you so much, guys, for being a part. I am thankful that you serve your community, whether it be through sports outreach, through, I was telling Tim yesterday, through knitting ministry, through sewing, whatever you do. I am thankful that you serve your community and they know who you are and that you are sharing the gospel of Jesus. And so for that, I'm thankful. Let me close this in prayer. Dear Lord, I am just so thankful for Tim, Lord, and his desire to share you. I thank you for his leagues, Lord. They just continue to flourish and thrive and grow. And Lord, we know that that is only you. And we're thankful for that. Lord, for each leader that was on here today that is thinking about sports ministry, Lord, I just pray that they would find that one leader. Lord, they would schedule a call and just take that step. Lord, they wouldn't be like me, where I just try to make things so perfect a lot. And so, Lord, I just pray for them. And Lord, we just thank you for the gift of sports, that we can move with purpose, Lord, that we can enjoy our families, and Lord, that we can be a light to our community in such a dark world, Lord. We thank you for the gift of Jesus Christ who died for us. And so, Lord, again, thank you so much for today. We love you, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys, I hope you have a great afternoon. See you
Thanks,
later.
Jennifer.
Bye.